individual of us thirst for at our own level. Then because of intellectual property, it holds the legal protections of our creativity and our inventions, which is important. We waste a lot of resources in terms of resources and time to come up with certain things. Even my preceding speakers share about the research in terms of cyber securities and the amount of time and resources he has spent is something only he can know. And what protects that? That is important. It has to be protected. Somebody's work. So legal protections is important. And when you talk about the socio-economic development, through intellectual properties, we create, we invent, and that is how we promote and protect the economic growth, give employment, support the government in terms of development, provides the platforms for further progressing of economical activities. So this is why this intellectual property is important. And now, when we talk about COVID-19 situations in which we are moving now and post-COVID-19 situations, our creativity and innovations is important now. If you really want to make it a new beginning, if you want to now work for a change, whether you like it or not, you have to work for a change. And if you really have to work for a change, now everybody of us has to be creative. Everybody of us has to be innovative in terms of supporting the socio-economic development of our countries, our economy, our global economy. So that is why it is important that intellectual property right holds a very, very big portions in our research and innovative work. When you talk about creativity and innovations, let us see GDP growth of our countries and how we are heading. I don't want to see this happening at my own level, and then all of you do agree that we don't want these things to happen. We don't want these things to go like this, exactly like this global financial crisis which happens in the 2009. We don't want these things to happen. You can imagine what it has created. And then the forecast, this is a forecast of UN in March itself. If you try to see that in worst cases, we might go to this, and which is a very, very bad image to be referred on. If I question the expert present today, will you want these things to happen? Definitely every one of us will say no, but things are pushing to us that directions. Our resources are being wasted. Our resources has to be put forth for the current challenges each nations, each individuals is facing. Forget about the economic crisis that is happening at the national level or global level. At our own individual level, our economic crisis has already started. Our job cut, salary reductions, uncertainty of certain work, or completely stoppage of certain work that we have been doing. These are all at one level or others impacts are happening. And now we should do more of research, more of research in a creative and innovative way to revive the economy. The second diagrams I try to highlight here, which is giving us the economic growth and what if things goes worse. There is two figures, economic growth, and if you try to see the under no coronavirus conditions, baseline scenarios of coronavirus, and then risk scenarios. Risk scenarios are something quite vital, and then if you try to see that everybody is impacted, every nation is impacted, and what if things goes wrong? And this is something which I think we can't imagine. If you try to see in second figure, I think If you try to see in case of now things might have improved. In second cases, hospital bed and then physicians. In case of India, if you try to see, and this is something quite alarming for all of us. Our resources might not able to hold the pandemic situations that we are going upon. So if every one of us are not responsive, then through our creation, through our innovations, then things will go beyond our control. And when you talk about the intellectual property, then creativity and innovations plays a very strong role. And this creativity and innovations goes hand in hand. When you talk about creativity, we talk about the motivations of having or doing some things from within ourselves. We want to make a change. Our skills and then the resources. Through this, we can make a creative living in terms of having that situations. And then when you talk about the innovations, then we need to talk about what is desirable, whether it is viable or not, and then whether it is possible or not. So under these three integrations. And when you try to see this image in terms of creativities and innovations, we have ideas, we have imaginations, thought, expressions. If you try to see, when you talk more towards creativities, it is the domains that individual of us has a control for. Ideas I have a control for. Imaginations I have a control for. So individual's control part is more focused when it comes to creativity. And when it comes to innovations, then it is mostly a teamwork. It is mostly a network. It is mostly a platform. So innovations actually is a sustaining parameters from the creativities. And I think at whatever level we think of, we have certain qualities that is reflected in creativities, and we can build it more for our reviving our economy, for making the new beginning a better beginning. And be innovative. And if you try to see certain things, we have been doing certain things we can do together. Best example is this is one of the platforms. I know that if we do a face-to-face type of setting, probably we may not have this much of audience. We may not have this much of participant, but if you are going virtual, and if you have that patience of moving forward and then contributing to societies, we are doing pretty good. So maybe in our own way or others, if we start contributing, then innovations will come. Maybe from like if you try to see my professional background, I am from electrical engineering, more focus on power systems and energy systems. So if I contribute in those domains, I have been actively engaged in intellectual properties related activities and its promotions through the support of World Intellectual Property Organizations, WIPO. They have built and invested in my capacity development a couple of times, through which today I can talk about this. So this is something that our knowledge sharing, my earlier preceding speakers was sharing about his research. This is where we should share. And this pandemic should give us that opportunity to come up from our dark zone, publish our work, do more of research, collaborative research, and then serve to the societies. And then definitely this COVID-19 has given a new scope for a research. I should say, many were saying that COVID-19 has impacted the research. To me, it is either balance. You can still do research. You can still, that if you have that patience and determinations, I think researchers are those portions of the scholars who should not be stopped by any situations. So Now, this has given us a challenges. Challenges is specifically in terms of reviving our economics, in terms of reviving our social life, socio-economic situations reviving. These challenges has been put forward by this COVID-19. And then, yes, it is a big questions, but in the same time, it is an opportunity every one of us need to take and then move ahead. And that is where I think now each one of us should focus on unlocking our research potential. Maybe our research specifically might be in our own self sometime. Maybe our research might be in our thought only. Now it is time it should come under actions. It should come under wider platforms so that it benefits societies at this critical time. And many a times this should not be an opportunity to actually take advantage of building your economy. It is a